Hey everyone, Dink's Dad here with Amberflight Gaming, and today I'm going to be taking you through how exactly to do a pre-release for My Hero Academia, the card game. Universus is growing a bunch right now. Today they just announced Attack on Titan will be coming as a new IP next year, so it's a better time than ever to get into the game and try to learn it. It's a lot of fun. So Jetburn is the newest set, releasing on November 17th, but pre-release is coming up this weekend, running from the 10th to the 12th. And if you go to one of those events, you'll be playing in the sealed format, and you'll be doing so with one of these. So in this video, I'm hoping to walk you through what you're going to be getting in your kits and how you might want to build a deck. If you're interested in signing up, ask your local game store if they have a Jetburn pre-release event. And if not, you can have them reach out to UVS Games, and maybe by the next set they will. Otherwise, you can look on at play.mhacardgame.com for the event finder, and I'll have that linked below. And if you call out the content creator you saw, that could be Amberflight Gaming for this video, or someone else you like, you can get some points toward the loyalty program and get some cool promo cards. So without further ado, let's get started. So opening up this pre-release pack, we are going to find inside 6 packs here for Jetburn, and we are going to find 1 promo XR character card. So it looks like here we have Hood. So Hood is a pretty cool character. If you remember this high-end Nomu that Endeavor fights in the anime, he focuses on big, strong attacks, and that's an archetype I enjoy personally. So first and foremost, each of these packs will contain 1 character card, as well as a rare, 3 uncommons, and a set of commons. So the first thing to do if you're looking to build a deck is open up these packs and take a look at the characters that you have available to you. So crack this guy open, and we can skip past the other cards for now. It looks like we have Shoto Todoroki here. Next we have Kyoka Jiro. This next pack, we have Tsuyu Asui. Next pack here, take another look. Here we have Tsuyu Asui again. So 2 left. So far, it looks like we have a couple options. We have Kami Utsushimi. And last but not least, we have ooh, look at that. We have the alternate art Katsuki Bakugo. So this is a really fancy one. You can get these cool alternate arts in the packs, and these characters are great. So from here, we want to choose. So we can take a look at each of these character cards. You may be familiar with them, you may not. But some characters like Bakugo, if we read him, he has you get a damage boost when your attacks get a damage penalty, specifically your Fury attacks. So Bakugo has a lot of cards in the set that are synergistic with him specifically. So if you want to play Bakugo, you would need to look in your packs and see if you have cards that specifically work well with him. Jiro is sort of similar with the applause counters, but if you take a character like Asui, who has commit, draw 1 card, your attack gets +1 damage, and then she can discard a card from her hand to discard 1 attack from your card pool. Asui has a lot more flexibility in building. So she might be a better choice if you don't have the specific attacks you want. So I think here we are going to take a look at our symbols. So in a pre-release, unlike in the standard game, you can play with any of the 3 symbols on your character card. In a constructed format, you can only use one, but here when we can use all 3, we can take a look, and judging by these characters, air, water, and possibly death or void are the symbols we're likely to play. So let's take a look through the packs. So for our first one here, we have a couple commons. Now, this one, Assault Dust, is standout as a common. Fits on death and water, so we could play it on Asui, Bakugo, or actually any of our characters that we have here so far, except for Hood. And having a strong common like this could be a signpost that we might want to consider it. Looking at our uncommon slot, we have an Angry Yelling here, which is some synergy with Bakugo, as well as Bring It On, which is, judging by the art, a card that might have some synergy with Bakugo. And with this effect, it certainly does. This card removes Furies from the card pool, or this card gives boost when you remove cards from the card pool, like Bakugo does with Furies, and it can potentially be very good. So far from this pack, I'm thinking that we may want to lean into Bakugo. Here we see Keeping the Beat. This card is another one of Bakugo's strong ones. It allows you to give a check +2 if your rival has discarded a card this combat phase. And with Bakugo's Enhance ability, that's something we can do. So once again, it's looking like we're in a strong position from Bakugo with these packs. And here we have a few more attacks in this one that don't look quite so appealing, but Feather Control doesn't really match our symbols, but very, very cool rare. Now, looking through the next set, we have Reluctant Role Model, another synergy card for Bakugo. Velocity Rush on air is powerful. So this card has a keyword Echo that makes it so that you can play it twice with your momentum if you had an attack that's hit. So doing this could be pretty powerful. We have Irate Scowl, Irritated, some more Bakugo synergy, and Jiro's Base. So Jiro's Base, you can see here, very, very nice looking. Foiling on these is awesome compared to previous sets and just keeps getting better every time. So Jiro's Base helps Kyokujiro work toward her unique alternate win condition of applause counters. So you can either just keep buffing them up with the first enhance of this card, which says discard 1 momentum, gain 2 applause counters, or you can instead go for the traditional damage route to win, because this lets you remove applause counters for speed and damage. So both sides of this asset can be pretty great. But so far, seems like Bakugo is still the one who's winning out. Now in this pack here, it seems like Hot Pursuit can be okay. Earnest Fighter, great uncommon. But none of these are really helpful for Bakugo. Team Player is very good if we're building a water deck, so we could use this very well with Tsuyu Asui, of course, and also Kyokujiro. So we're getting a little bit more split now. In this next pack here, you can see that we have some other cool cards. This Frog Stomp here for Asui is particularly great with her kit. Flash Fire Fist Jet Burn for Endeavor, but we're not really there. And the new number 1, which is a great pro hero enhanced card, lets you unseal cards in your stage and fight off opponents' speed tricks, but not really the symbols that we're looking to play, and we don't have characters it works particularly well with. So now in our last pack, we have I Am a Hero 2, which is actually really unlikely to find, but this rare is the one that lets Jiro do her alternate win condition. So if you have 25 or more applause counters, you win the game, and this ability can't be canceled. So, judging by this, it seems like even though we had some signs to start with Bakugo early, it looks more like we can assemble a great deck for Jiro. So I think that's what we're going to do. So water, life, and good are the symbols. And from what we saw in our packs, it seems like water is the way to go. So let's start by getting our attacks and foundations for the water symbol separated. And then we can discuss what it would take to take those cards and turn them into a serious contending deck. So one thing that is a little bit different about Sealed compared to other formats is that the power level is a bit lower. So you may want to give up a little bit on synergy compared to what you might normally do to try and put cards together that just have good numbers on them. If you're new to card games, that might sound a little bit intimidating, but you can take a look at any of these cards and you can see this difficulty number in the top left, this block modifier in the top right. These are numbers that you want to be smaller, generally speaking. Now here we have speed, we have damage, and we have the control value. So those are numbers that you want to be larger. So if you're in any doubt and you aren't sure if you have enough cards to really put together the deck that you want, you can just try to find cards on the matching symbol that have good values there. And those can really get you where you're looking to go. So next up, we have Heroic Passion, which can be good with commit cost and mitigating stun abilities. We like to have a foundation like this. Fearless Frog, of course, can be very nice, especially in Sealed. This card can let you change the zone of your attack, which can take something like a high or low and make them a little bit tougher to block, which is just excellent. Next up in this pack, doesn't look like we have much else on water, so we can put those aside. And it seems like we might have to pivot to life, just because we may not have the card density on water that we appeared to earlier. But perhaps I am wrong. So, Return of the Kings, another nice card here. Once again, not a ton of synergy with the deck, but very good for just keeping us in the game. So we have our water cards out of the way, and it looks like we can make up the rest with life. So I said you can play all three symbols, and the reason I wanted to start going through one at a time just because is within each symbol we tend to see more cards that work well together. And with the cards we have for Jiro specifically, as well as the many Asui cards we opened, it seems like water would be a good place to start. And water generally does well with both kind of applying some moderate disruption to the opponent and mitigating opposing disruption. So Jiro, sort of with her game plan, is just going to be focused on sticking around. She has a 7 card hand size, so she's very good at, both blocking and attacking compared to a 5 or 6 hander. And you just want to hang around, generate those applause counters, and then either cash them in for some damage with the base, or just reach that 25 and play Jiro's signature attack and take home the win with I'm a Hero too. So looking otherwise, I think we've exhausted the supply of water playables, leaving us with about 7 attacks that we would like to put in our deck. We have 6 foundations and 1 asset. So we're still pretty far from our 40 card deck that we're working toward. We want to try, generally speaking, to get a ratio that's about 2 foundations to every 1 attack. So we'll be kind of playing toward that end. So looking here, we have King Slam. So this uncommon doesn't let you play abilities during the attack, but it is very powerful. It does 8 damage as a low, which is very good, but we might want to hold off on this just because Jiro so much relies on playing attacks that allow her to use abilities. Hot Pursuit can fit in well here. Good defensive tool. Keeps the rival committed as you make blocks, which is nice. We have Dragon Crash, which can be good in Jiro's package. This is the example of an attack that has good numbers, even though it doesn't synergize very well. You can see we have 4 difficulty, 1 block modifier, 3 speed, and 6 damage. Very strong card. Velocity Rush, also good as we discussed earlier. And here we can put this multitasking in. If you are building a sealed deck, this is a card I would encourage you to consider if your character shares any of the symbols. So it reads Enhance, ready 1 rival foundation. Your attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So in a sealed environment, your opponent might not always have access to having cards available to block. So if you're readying their foundation when they can't block, a card like this can get you a lot of mileage, especially on a 7-hander. So we'll add this to the deck. You'll add this failed role model. This lets us seal a rival foundation. Can be quite nice. And I think from this pack, that's about all. I'm going 1 more. Add Hot Pursuit. Hula Hoop here, another one of these attacks. So you can see the art on these attacks features a lot of the kids from the mentorship arc where Bakugo, Todoroki, and Ikami from our pool had to go back to school since they failed their license exams. And, you know, even though the kids might not be the most exciting big heroes, their cards are really good and fit in a lot of decks, and Hula Hoop's another one of those. Put Earnest Fighter in. All right. So now we're at the point here where we've put the cards in that help our deck most. So otherwise we're going to put in cards that generally have reasonable numbers to finish. So these Dragon Powers work best when we have foundations that, or when we have attacks that don't have abilities. And we only have 1 of those, but having 2 foundations with 1 difficulty and a 2 mid block modifier can be very nice. So those will slide right into the deck. Otherwise here, number 2 Pro Hero, another very nice one. You can take away an attack speed and also add it to your hand when doing so to get an additional block on a defensive turn, which might be something Jiro is interested in. So with that, we can take another inventory of our cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attacks. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 foundations. So still not quite there. We just got to keep digging deeper. Take to the Sky. A little bit less impressive, but once again, a card with general good effects on our symbols. So this lets us build it after we block with it committed, and we can flip it to give a low attack -2 damage. None of those are specifically good for Jiro, but they're generally going to be helpful to a lot of characters. Stylish Strike, another attack with a low difficulty, can fit here. Icy Display can fit in the deck. It's a high block, but I think it's the kind of card that we want to hold out on just a little bit more. Number 7, Pro Hero, can offer a bit of card selection, even though we can't use the other beneficial effects. Feather Control works best with Hawks' Feathers. There aren't a ton of cards that we want to add from our card pool to our hand, but just as a 1 difficulty foundation, I think it's going to make the cut. I'll set on those. All right. So here we have almost everything in the deck that we like. Styling Bakugo, another 1 diff that needs to make it in. And now I think that we have put almost every card on our symbols into this deck. I have another foundation. And let's take another count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 attacks, which is a little low. We might want to try to squeeze 1 or 2 more in. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 foundations. And 1 asset. So we're 9 cards away. So at this point, we're getting a little bit far into our time. Typically, you'd have about 30 minutes to prepare. So at this point, you can either pivot and go for a different character, or try and make things work with a few more interesting cards. And we're going to go for the latter. So here we have Arbor. This is an action that can be used to build as a foundation later when you review, but also can give an attack a lot of damage for or -3 speed. And I think that this is a card that we are all right putting in our deck for now. It does give us a little bit of extra game. King Slam, we talked about not wanting to play this earlier, but at this point now, we're pretty locked in. We don't have the maneuverability or other card slots to fit it in our deck comfortably, but sometimes you just have to make do with your playables. We have all the cards from here that are possible to put in the deck in. And at this point now, we have put in every playable that we can, which is not typical. Usually we have a few more opportunities, but we have really gone for it now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 attacks. 2 miscellaneous, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 foundations. So here, if we are 7 cards short, one thing you can do in sealed is you can play other foundations basically as a blank. So these would be a 2 difficulty, 5 control, 2 mid block. we also can play these characters in as something called a buddy block. So you'll see that each character does have a check rating, a difficulty, and a block. So you can still use these other characters just only as a way to block cards. So, they are 0 difficulty. You don't want to run too many, but we could put in something like Asui and say, all right, we're just going to use this to make blocks. So I think that it's pretty safe to say that Jiro would probably be a pretty cool choice here, just because we have this alternate win condition option. She's powerful with her own game plan on her own, just letting you give attacks speed boost or reducing the speed of attacks from your opponent, readying your own foundations and sealing them to keep your offensive turn going. And here we have lots of attacks with low difficulty that all can contribute well to that game plan of going wide, getting applause counters, and picking up big wins. So with that, I think we have a pretty fun deck we could get into some games with, and I hope you enjoyed this video, checking out some of the new cards. And yeah, just remember to sign up for a pre-release event, get out there, and play the game. It's been a pleasure, and once again, I'm Dankus Dad with the Amberflight Gaming, and thanks for watching.